Money is the greatest incentivizer, one of the greatest incentivizers of all. If you can create adoption, i.e. Metcalfe's law, you get rewarded with huge amounts of money.
My goal for this episode is to open your mind to a new way of thinking about investing that can elevate your investing talent from playing checkers to playing 4D chess. The principle in this episode has dramatic implications on finding companies with massive growth trajectories and is a key indicator to finding companies that could end up dominating their respective markets. Raoul Pal, the brilliant ex-hedge fund manager who retired at age 36, just tweeted that if he could have his investment life all over again, he would just have invested in anything that follows Metcalfe's law, saying he thinks it's a secular shift via technology and even beats old school high volume long-term macro in accumulating supernormal returns over time. This is a profound statement for investing today, and by the end of this episode, you'll understand why. There are 4 segments today. First, what is Metcalfe's law? The second, we'll give real-world examples of Metcalfe's law in action. Third, I want to caution you for applying Metcalfe's law. And fourth, we will talk about ARK investments that follow Metcalfe's law so you can see how, despite Kathy and team not publicly championing Metcalfe's law, there are reasons for this I will explain in part 3. They are absolutely aware of this principle and are invested heavily around it. So part 1. In the 1980s, Robert Metcalfe, the inventor of Ethernet, proposed a formulation of network value in terms of the network size, or the number of nodes of the network, which was later named as Metcalfe's law. Simply put, it says that a network's value is proportional to the square of the number of nodes in the network. These nodes can be computers, servers, or simply users and customers. For example, if a network has 10 nodes, its inherent value would be 100. 10 squared is 100. Add one more node, the value then becomes 121, or 11 squared. Add another, and the value jumps to 144. So this principle states a network effect that is non-linear but exponential in growth. Metcalfe's law has been influential and an embodiment of the network effect concept, but it has also generated a lot of controversy. Some scholars went so far as to say Metcalfe's law is wrong and dangerous, but we'll touch on this in part 3. This principle has never in the history of mankind been so relevant as it is today with the digital age. Network effects have become an essential component of a successful digital business. The internet has allowed facilitating these network effects in a way that was not possible a mere 40 years ago before the internet's creation in 1983. As it becomes less and less expensive to connect users on platforms, the companies that are able to attract these customers at scale become incredibly valuable over time. But not only do network effects lead to exponential growth, as digital businesses and platforms scale, they also gain a competitive advantage as they control more of the market. And this brings us to part 2, real-world examples of Metcalfe's law. Think about eBay. If I'm the only node or the only user on the platform trying to sell my LeBron James rookie card, the service is not at all valuable to me as there are no buyers. But today, because eBay has about 182 million users, the platform has dominated the market because they have a network effect that cannot be easily duplicated elsewhere. They charge incredibly high fees and get away with it because of the network effect, or thought another way, because of Metcalfe's law. As more users come to the platform, there are more items for sale, more buyers for those items, more advertising revenue for eBay, and the flywheel effect goes round and round. I think these two should help illustrate Metcalfe's law, so we're going to move to part 3. But if you're still confused, please leave your question below and I will answer it for you. Part 3, cautions for applying Metcalfe's law. As mentioned, not every smart person in the world is a big fan of Metcalfe's law, and it's crucial for you to understand both sides to become a more savvy investor when applying this method to choosing investments. The fundamental flaw is assigning equal value to all nodes in the network or to all users in the ecosystem. For example, an eBay user who bids on items but never pays, or one who never lists anything for sale, nor actually buys anything but just browses the site, does not add the same amount of value to the network as a user who buys and sells, following through regularly. But there's more. Some argue if Metcalfe's law were true, then all companies in the same space should merge, connecting their networks. The mathematical argument goes like this. If company Kathy has 20 users, its network value is 400, or 20 squared. If company Tasha has 20 users, its network value is the same, 400. Now, if company Kathy and Tasha were to merge, their new company ARK would have 40 users, but 40 squared would result in a network value of 1,600 compared to the total value of the two companies when they were separate, not connected, of 800. So connecting their companies and thus the networks would double their value without changing anything else and result in more profits for the owners and more value for the users. But I think most of us would agree that there is way more you need to consider when making an argument like that, but I wanted to lay it out there so you're informed. For what it's worth, I personally believe in the principle of Metcalfe's law and actively look for investments where the value will grow exponentially as the user base grows, but I do not apply any mathematical analysis by squaring the number of users to acquire some sort of theoretical future value. And here we go with part 4. How you can apply this to your investment strategy by seeing how ARK Invest does it. This list is not exhaustive, but it will serve as a starting point. First up, if you read the white paper from ARK Invest on Cash App versus Venmo, you'll read, quote, "In the US and perhaps elsewhere, strong network effects are enabling digital wallets to scale faster than social media did in its early days, as shown below. Mobile peer-to-peer payments are penetrating different age groups in the US in half the time that social media did 10 years ago. For both social media and peer-to-peer payment applications, the utility of the networks increases as an exponential function of the total number of people on the network. For peer-to-peer payments, though, these network effects could prove stronger than for social media. While Venmo or Cash App users have a financial incentive to invite their parents or even grandparents onto the platforms, they probably wouldn't have encouraged them to follow their Instagram accounts. But take a look. Footnote 29 says Metcalfe's law states that the utility of a communications network scales proportionally to the square of the number of nodes. So yes, ARK is acutely aware of Metcalfe's law, but in my opinion, they don't champion it as much publicly as they do Wright's law because of the controversy and the mathematical issues. Square, the parent company of Cash App, is the top holding in ARK Invest's ETF ARKF with a 9.6% weight worth about $330 million. Just below it, Zillow, Metcalfe's law, PayPal, Metcalfe's law, Tencent Holdings, Metcalfe's law. There was literally a study done in 2015 titled Tencent and Facebook Data Validate Metcalfe's Law, and the results showed that one of the 4 laws of network effect, Metcalfe's law by far fits the actual data the best. 2, both Tencent and Facebook data fit Metcalfe's law quite well. 3, the costs of Tencent and Facebook are proportional to the squares of their network sizes, not linear. And 4, the growth trends of Tencent and Facebook monthly active users fit the netoid function well. And you can just think of a netoid function similar to an S-curve. It has an initial exponential rapid growth, and later, as the network reaches saturation, a similar exponential deceleration with similar growth and deceleration rates. But the potentially highest ceiling investment that ARK is super bullish on is Bitcoin.
We are extremely bullish. Our confidence in it has gone up since 2017.
They predict up to a $5 trillion value in network capitalization over the next 5 to 10 years. Yes, that could mean prices of one Bitcoin of $500,000 per coin, which is what internet land would deem a 10-bagger because you could 10x your investment in just a few years. In future episodes, we'll take much deeper dives into these topics, but I hope by now you will have a new tool in your investing toolbox. As I mentioned at the beginning of this video, Metcalfe's law can help you find companies that may have an easier path to dominance than others. And as mentioned earlier in that study, Facebook is dominating not because they have an incredible platform, nor because they enact policies that everyone loves, and not because they offer a service that can't easily be duplicated by another company, but because of their network effect. This creates an inherent moat for the company that should not be overlooked. So as always, this is one more tool that you can now use, but remember, there is no one tool you should be using all the time to generate wealth and freedom for you and yours. But that's all I have for you guys today. Please like the video if you learned something new, consider subscribing for more investing content, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. I hope that you have a great day.